Okay, so you are opening up Activity 811, 8-page layout. So this is the kind of finished product, and we're assuming everything's been properly pre-flighted and it's ready to go now. So you're going to be covering pre-flighting a little bit later in this learning unit, but let's just at this point in time say that's all been done. We're ready now to output our PDFs. So let's just cycle through this document. I'm going to press W so that we've got our preview, and that's the cover page. And then we have an inside cover, a contents page, we have a double page spread, page 4 and 5, and we have another double page spread, page 6 and 7, and then we have a back page. I've made a couple of minor changes to the back page just to improve the optics, but everything's good to go. So now, what are the PDF requirements that we might have? Well, the first one is, what if we want to email this to our client? What you want to try and avoid is emailing the print ready version for two reasons. One is that the file size is going to be probably too big to email, and number two, you don't want to give your client a document that they can go off and print on their own, and maybe if they haven't paid you yet, you're then stuck. So you'd rather send your client a version that they can proof, they can look at, they can give you feedback on, but they can't take it without and have it printed. It's not going to be good enough quality for final print. I know that sounds like a bit paranoid, but it has happened to me, and it will have happened to every freelance graphic designer at some stage in their life. Alright, so to create an emailable version of this document, you're going to go to File, Adobe Pdf Presets, Smallest File Size. And I'm just going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to make a folder, and I'm just going to call it PDFs, or let's call it 8-page brochure PDFs, and create. And then I'm going to press save, and these are the options that I have for smallest file size. Now I'm not going to mess around with them. I'm just going to leave them as they are, because these are presets for a good reason. They're standards compliant. And then I'm going to press export, and it tells me that this document is set. It says the space doesn't match the destination color space specified in the export. So that's basically saying that CMYK color space doesn't really match the smallest file size format, because smallest file size is usually for digital use. That's fine. You can leave this and just press OK. So it's going to convert it, and I'll just bring up that folder so we can see when it's there. Okay, here it is. It is 781 kilobytes, so it's actually under a megabyte, which is pretty efficient. Let's open it and have a look. Okay, so there's the cover, inside page. Okay, so a couple of things that I missed out on here is that notice the way the double page spreads are now single pages. So that's not what I want. So I'm just going to remove this document from this folder. Let's go back here, File, Adobe PDF Presets, smallest file size, and we want save, and then we want to make sure that spreads is checked under the general settings here. And I'm also going to check open view PDF after exporting, so it opens it up automatically. Now if you don't have Adobe Acrobat DC or Adobe Reader installed, it's going to open up the PDF in whatever your default PDF viewer is. And I've noticed on a lot of Windows machines that actually could be your web browser. So just bear in mind that a web browser is not the best PDF viewer in the world. So try and make sure that you have at least Adobe Reader installed, so that when it opens up your PDFs, you're getting a decent PDF reader. Okay, I'm going to export again. and it should open it up automatically once it's finished. Okay, and so here we have our double page spreads, and so this document is now good enough for me to email to someone, to put up on a web page for downloading, or for sharing in some other digital way like G Drive, OneDrive, iCloud, or whatever. You could even WhatsApp this to someone for viewing. Okay, so that's the first type of PDF, which is the smallest file size. So let's go back to the document. So the next one is, what if I want to print this myself? Let's say that I've got a really fancy printer at home, like a laser printer or a fancy HP printer or Canon printer or something like that. So I'm not sending it to a commercial printer, I'm going to print it myself. If you're going to do that, the best preset to use, Adobe Pdf Presets, is high quality print. Okay, so I'm going to change this name to high quality print. Okay, make sure spreads is on again. Everything else is fine, and export. Okay, there it is. So it's still going to look the same as the other one, but if we have a look at the documents in my folder, the high quality print document is 6 megabytes. The smallest file size one is less than 1 megabyte. So let me just actually name this smallest file size. Okay, and then let's do one more. What if I want to send this document to a commercial printer for proper printing? Let's say I want to print 10,000 of them. So then you need to use a special preset. So File, Adobe PDF Presets, and then PDFX. So you'll see there's 3 different flavors of PDFX here, and each one of them has a year attached to it. So there's 2001, 2, and 8. So each one of these has slightly more advanced technology, but it also depends on the printer having that technology as well. So what you want to do is you want to try and save in the most safe way. In other words, if you send it to a printer who maybe doesn't have the latest technology, you're still going to get back what you're expecting. So the PDFX 1A 2001 is your safest print ready option. So if we go with that option, and we're going to say PDF 8-page layout, PDF X 1A 2001. And in these settings here, again spreads, but then we're also going to go to marks and bleeds, and we're going to say all printers marks and use document bleed settings, because for a print ready document you need all of these marks on there. So when I export it, it's going to eventually come up with it. Let's just check, it's taking a little while. Okay, there we go, it's come up. So you'll see that it's got these marks around it, these registration marks and color bars and so on. Those are all for printing. And there we have a double page spread and our back page. Right, so that's a print ready document. So those are the 3 most common types of PDFs that you might want to create. One for sharing, emailing, uploading and so on. One for printing on an office or home printer, and one for commercial printing using offset litho printing. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and see you next time.